is what I'm going to read out. The agitational program on Waqf Amendment Act 2025 started since 4/4/2025 in all police station areas of Jangipur PD. Initially, the protest organized by different organizations were peaceful and non-violent. On 8th of April, an agitational program organized on the ground Raghunathganj at 1400 hours at 2 p.m. A huge crowd, approximately 8 to 10,000. So the acceptance that there were nearly 8 to 10,000 people assembling at PWD ground, of which a large number of the crowd, approximately 4 to 5,000, proceeded towards Umarpur and blocked NH, the national highway, at about 3 p.m. So then they say the action was taken, pursued them to leave national highway as maximum number of vehicles including ambulance, school buses, public transport had been stuck for a long time, but the agitated mob did not pay any heed to the lawful direction of police officers. At about 4:25, all of a sudden the crowd became unruly and started using filthy language, and thereafter they started throwing bricks and stones on police personnel, assaulting police personnel by lathi, hasua, iron sticks and deadly weapons with intention to kill police personnel. The miscreants snatched a Glock pistol and of the SDPO with 10 rounds of loaded ammunition. Then further they say the agitated mob vandalized and set fire government vehicle as well as public properties at Umarpur. And then they are talking about what the cops tried to do to try and disperse the mob, and say officers or force rushed to the spot and fired non-lethal weapons to disperse the mob. After some time, now then they further go on to say that the number of weapons and what was fired, 142 rounds of PAG, 10 rounds of TSM, 40 rounds of stun shell, 9 rounds of hand grenade. Total of 40 officers, 89 constables were deployed at the agitation program. And 2 officers and 20 combats were kept at district reserve. They were also utilized. But what eyewitnesses on ground say is this was not enough. At most points, the cops were standing there helpless, mute spectators. That's what they are saying. Then there is further information on multiple. Now, in the meantime, how did they try to stop this? They have also said what is the kind of action taken. More than 400 families have reportedly had to move out, run out of and flee Murshidabad. As of now, in this report that has been submitted to the court, they have said 38 families have returned. That's what they have said, that as of now 38 families have come back. That's what. Then again, another thing they are saying, in Shamsherganj what happens? Page number 8 of the annexure report I am reading. On the same day, simultaneously at about 14:30 hours, huge number of crowd, approximately 4 to 5,000 from different areas of Shamsherganj started gathering at Old Dak Bangla under Shamsherganj police station and started shouting slogans on the said issue and blocked the main thoroughfare in Dhulian town. On getting information, the OC Shamsherganj PAS along with 15 officers and 30 constables rushed to the spot. But there was huge disruption of traffic. Soon the SDPO Farakka along with 1 officer rushed to the place. The police team tried to pacify it, but the agitated mob became unruly, started throwing bricks and stones and upon police personnel. Miking was done, etc., etc., etc. The whole explanation of what happened in Dhulian is also mentioned. After 4-5 hours, the national highway got cleared. Police started dominating the area. At no point in this entire report does it talk about the nature of people or the people who have come. It also talks about the number of arrests that have been made. Now, if I go further down, at all points, they are saying these are the number of arrests that have been made so far. Raghunathganj 18 plus 6, 24. This area of Suti, there is nearly about 90 odd people who have been arrested. Shamsherganj, again, there have been multiple arrests that have been made. Action has been taken. So, this is all of Shamsherganj. So many arrests have been made, but out of 4,000-5,000 people, a few hundred have been overall arrested. But at no point in this, as we go across to Kamalika, if she's there with us live, she's the one who's accessed this report. At no points has the BSF been blamed as allowing these miscreants. Has it been said that they were Biharis, Uttar Pradeshis or Bangladeshis, Kamalika? In fact, they are saying that confidence building measures by contingents of BSF and CRPF as well as Bengal State Police to instill confidence. So these are the measures taken to restore peace and tranquility. So this report actually says that the BSF and the CRPF have stepped in to help restore law and order. This is contrary to what the state's Home Minister has claimed. less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah, that's what is interesting, Anand, because this report clearly says, and here it is written, that when the situation, and today also the same thing was stated by Kalyan Banerjee in court, that when the situation, as there was large scale violence at multiple places and seeing the situation going out of control, SP Jangipur PD requested DGP and IGP West Bengal over phone for CRPF deployment at about 12 noon in Shamsherganj PNs. Accordingly, about 1 p.m., 2 companies of BSF got deployed to tackle the situation, the deteriorating law and order situation. By evening, the law and order was in place. This is this is what clearly shows that this was a request from the state government to deploy CRPF. And not only that, today also in the court, the state on record did not oppose that the central forces should stay for more time. But on the other hand, we see that the political blame game that is going on, or political narrative that is going on, we saw that Kunal Ghosh saying that everything has been done by BSF. None other than the Chief Minister yesterday pointed out on BSF by stating that BSF has paid money to the young people and they have started this stone pelting. Yes. Today also Chief Minister also blamed the central agencies. Now this is very interesting because this report which we have in our hand says that there was a requirement of central forces. This report which we have in our hand, it shows that what is the veracity of the attack. And Anand, as you were reading, the first portion of the report talks about the incident on 8th. That day was the first incident. That day was not the Friday. The Jummabar incident was not that day. This happened in Umarpur in Raghunathganj. In spite of such an incident on 8th, this report says that there was intelligence input that there is going to be a protest. Unorganized people will protest on the 11th, that means on Friday in Jummabar, when the main devastation took place in Shuti, Shamsherganj, and specifically in this Shajua Mode and Dak Banglo Mode. So intelligence was there. Even after then, there were my sources were also telling me there was more than 1 hour. It was difficult for the police to get into it, and here police themselves were in attack. That is something, that is something very concerning. And at one point of time, when the police felt that it's like going out of control, and that time CRPF was called. So, this report also shows that it was, what were the things which were vandalized. Here in the report says a part of unruly move vandalized, looted and torched many private shops, temples, houses, etc. in several places in Dhulian town of Shamsherganj. So these are all the, this is absolutely a very detailed report given by state government in the court with all the everything into it. And here, the devastation which took place, it was absolutely horrific. That is very clear from this report.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your efforts and the work that you're doing on ground. Stay safe. Now, these are, so this is what it is. What Kamalika was mentioning, page number 9 in the annexure, a part of the unruly mob vandalized, looted, torched many private shops, temples and houses, etc. at several places in Dhulian town of Shamsherganj. SP Malda district, additional and huge number of other reached New Dak Bungalow mode and started chasing and by opening fire of non-lethal weapons, and it took 4 to 5 hours for the national highway to be cleared. And that page that I was talking to you about, where it says they actually credit the BSF, 2 companies of BSF got deployed, page 11, I'm reading this. Accordingly, 1300 hours, 2 companies got deployed to tackle the deteriorated law and order situation. So here they are crediting the CRPF and BSF for stepping in. As there was large scale violence at multiple places, seeing the situation out of control, page number 10, that's what I'm reading. SP Jangipur requested DGP and IGP for CRPF deployment at about 12 noon Shamsherganj PS area, and then carry forward that accordingly at about 1300 hours 2 companies of BSF got deployed. Let's go across to our guests. There is more. We will also have one of the eyewitnesses speaking with us here on the right stand, and we would like our viewers, everyone, to hear this. Professor Manojit Mandal, Arun Anand and Sardar RP Singh with us. Namaste, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Now, Professor Manojit Mandal, The Home Minister of Bengal was blaming and defaming the BSF. But the report submitted in the High Court credits the CRPF and the BSF.
What's wrong in that? If there are infiltration, the reports are also there with the MHA, Ministry of Home Affairs. If there are infiltrations, day before yesterday, you also talked about a report that some Bangladeshi radicals have entered Murshidabad.
That's different.
Then who? No. Let me.
That's different to what? No. That's different to what the Home Minister of the state said about the BSF, Professor Manojit Mandal.
Mr. Anand, let us have a sane debate. It's a very serious issue.
Yeah.
If he says that there is no infiltration, then please stop this narrative day in and day out about infiltration.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, you are shifting the goalpost, Professor Manojit Mandal. I am referring to the Home Minister saying that the BSF allowed these people to come and the BSF paid these people money to orchestrate this violence. That is not what this report submitted to the High Court says.
You read what is said on the report till 8th of April. But what Kamalika was saying, I think is extremely right. She was talking about the 11th, when the maximum devastation, including firing, took place. 3 killings happened, 1 probably because of firing and 2 because of other reason. You have to talk about that particular day when there was also celebration of Hanuman Jayanti. And now we understand this permission to celebrate Hanuman Jayanti on the same day was given by a particular police officer of that Shamsherganj police station who was transferred. Because of that, the maximum damages took place on the night of Friday.
No.
Last Friday.
Again, you're shifting the goalpost, Professor Manojit Mandal. How did this happen on the 8th? If the BSF has been used to build confidence, how can the Home Minister of the state try and lampoon the BSF? And again, Kamalika, why are you selectively quoting Kamalika? Kamalika very clearly said that there were clear intel inputs that were ignored. That there is going to be a larger disturbance on the 11th and no bandobast was done. Did you not hear that, sir?
The problem is that you come with a preconceived notion of defaming the state and you won't allow us to speak. I tell you one thing.
Sir,
do you know?
Sir,
what is that?
This is based. I am asking my questions based on what is reported, what was claimed, and there is a simple point, sir. When you credit the central forces, when you yourself have requested central forces to come and intervene on the 8th of April, why was the tayari not there so that there is no untoward incident that happens on the 11th? And how can you say that those who are trying to help build confidence were the ones who paid these people to come back and orchestrate something again on the 11th? No, what responsibility is and what integrity is the Home Minister of the state showing then?
No. If you have called me to heckle, then I have to quit.
Please complete.
Or if you can allow me to answer, then I'll answer.
Please complete.
I have maintained from night of Friday, in fact from Saturday, that one section of BSF was responsible. But at the same time, ADG Law and Order quoted saying on the same day, that is Friday night, or even on Saturday, that BSF was called in even before the order of the High Court. I said this on your channel on a different show. So what's wrong in that? But one section of do you think that there is someone like Satish Kumar was arrested by CBI for cattle smuggling? He's also a BSF man. What are you talking about? So one section of BSF is complicit with this kind of trafficking. The Satish Kumar is also a BSF, and I had shows on your channel, with you about Satish Kumar and how he was involved in.
So he was attacked. He was arrested. He was brought on. But Satish Kumar's arrest happened sometime back, sir. Satish Kumar's arrest happened sometime. Satish Kumar's arrest happened. The BSF commandant who was involved was arrested on charges of corruption. But in this case, Malda Murshidabad, the same law.
Infiltration business. One section of BSF is involved even in cattle smuggling.
No, prove it, sir.
Without
Prove it.
the
No, no,
help
no.
of-
Prove
without-
that section.
And then why did
The
you
group
arrest-
that
why
was
did you
involved
arrest
in
Mr.
cattle
Kumar?
smuggling.
Why did you
The
arrest
amount,
Mr.
sir, the
Kumar?
amount of money and the
Then
aspects
you have
we
to
are
say
aware.
that there
But
is
this
no
was some
infiltration
time
at
ago,
all.
and that person was
I
brought
mean,
to
you
account.
are-
In
you
this
are
case, the Home
shooting-
Minister of the state
you
has
are
stood on a
shooting
public
your
stage and
own-
made these allegations with no naya paisa
You
of
are
proof.
shooting
What's been
on your
submitted to
own
the court
leg.
shows that the BSF
What
and the
the Chief
CRPF helped to
Minister
control
has
law and
said-
order.
What
One
the
second.
Chief
Sardar
Minister
RP Singh,
has
please
said-
respond. That on the 8th, they may have helped, but on the 11th, they helped orchestrate the mayhem.
My voice and then you
No, I'm not. Let the others also speak. 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 Professor Manojit Tandon. Yes. Sardar RP Singh.
Anand, see, he is trying to split the hair. This is the only party which said BSF should not go beyond 15 kilometers, which any other party, any other state in the country. Why they want it that way? Because they want BSF not to indulge into the internal affairs. Now they seek the BSF help. Now they are blaming the BSF also. Fact is, it's Mamata Banerjee who has instigated the riots, instigated the arson in West Bengal this time. He is the one who said that I won't allow this bill to be implemented in Bengal. I mean, how can she do that? I mean, she is saying something which is unconstitutional. Some bill passed by the parliament, she is saying that I would allow this to be implemented in Bengal. Then her leader says that we will gog the eyes of the people who tried to implement Waqf in Bengal. Oh, this is what is happening. So you are virtually, practically, you are instigating people to do violence. Then you had the intelligence input. You didn't act it on the intelligence input because you didn't want it to. And also, has she tried to put some balm on the people who have suffered? Has she visited Hargobind Das house or Chandan Das house? Has she visited the father-son house? No. She is not going to do so because whole of this game plan is being played keeping one thing in mind, the coming election. And let me also share with you, West Bengal has some 32% Muslim population. Assam has some 40%. It also has some borders with Bangladesh. Assam too has. Not a iota of any violence in Assam. But why is happening in West Bengal only? Because they are, and there are elections in Assam also. But because they are targeting a vote bank and they are trying to appease that vote bank and they are going on ground, meeting the clerics and meeting the leaders of the community.
But Sardar
saying
RP
that
Singh,
don't bother,
as per
don't bother.
this report,
Just keep,
as per this report, the CAPF was deployed in the vicinity in that region from the 8th of April. There is BSF which has been alerted. Despite that, the violence has happened on the 11th of April. So if the central forces were already being involved by the state, so can only the state be held responsible? How did this happen and was none the wiser? Or does it also suit the BJP to polarize the narrative?
No, I'll answer that, please. The control over these central forces is also with the local authorities. It's not that central forces can do anything on their own. They have to abide by the local administration. Not that they can do something on their own. Not at all. So it is up to the local officers or local administration of Mamata Banerjee how to use the deployed forces or not to use the deployed forces also, or intentionally keep them out, or to blame them later on that, oh, you are paying money. What more shameful can be than this? That you are saying that BSF
No,
was
but
paying
if
money
she has made that
to
allegation,
instigate
has the
riots.
BSF,
And also not that, not
has the
significant.
BSF issued a strong reprimand and a rebuttal? Has there been an official statement by the BSF challenging the Home Minister of Bengal and asking her to furnish proof?
Yes.
Has there been any defamation suit filed against the Home Minister of Bengal for the utterances that she has made? It's a BSF that's being defamed here. So somewhere there is this notion that politics is being allowed to play because it helps both sides at the cost of human lives.
No.
38 families, they are putting here
all.
that we have repatriated 38 of the displaced families. 400 plus families have gone. What is the accountability here? They are what? Cannon fodder.
Anand, what all you said, I'll appreciate. BSF should do that, and I'm hopeful that BSF will do the needful, filing a defamation against the Home Minister of the state, because there is no option left now, because she has crossed the limit and all levels of any good administrator.
Right.
You are blaming the same body whom you are seek help from. You are blaming the same authorities. You are blaming the same forces
Sir,
whom
the
you seek
blame,
help from.
you can make the
And
blame
saying that
based,
you are the one who instigated.
you can make the blame based on facts. If I am asking a question here, it's based on the report that's been submitted by the West Bengal government to the Honorable Calcutta High Court for the incidences, as Professor Manojit Mandal says. Oh, it is also written on 11th, what action has been taken till the 11th. On the action taken report, that's also been submitted. So the update is update is as per the 12th of April 2025 in these regions: Jafrabad, Jangipur, Shamsherganj, all in this entire Murshidabad region. One minute, Professor Arun Anand is also with us. 1 second. Calcutta High Court, we just got another update. The Calcutta High Court has given permission to the Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha to hold the Save Bengali Hindus rally on Saturday 19th of April from Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's ancestral home to culminate the rally in front of Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee's house in Kolkata's Bhawanipur. This is what the West Bengal BJP is now saying. So 19th of April, yet again, Saturday, is there going to be further turmoil, and this time in Kolkata? That's the big question. Who's going to play? Arun Anand, how would you assess this situation? At the end of the day, be it a Muslim or a Hindu, they are citizens, denizens of the state of Bengal and also the nation of India. How is this being allowed? How is this okay? And are you willing to buy the Home Minister's statement that the BSF perpetrated this or orchestrated this?
No,
they allowed people to come and then go back, paying them 6,000 rupees.
No, I don't think that happened. I think you have to see it in a larger context. As you rightly mentioned, political parties, they'll continue to trade charges, and ultimately it's the common people who suffer. Now, if you look at largely basically what is happening in West Bengal, so there is a pattern to it. There is a historical context of it. It's basically a toolkit. It's a toolkit of riots, which if you go back a little bit more, then it started in April 1906 in Mymensingh. If you look at the 1906 Mymensingh riots, which lasted for more than a year, and then if you move on to, Dhaka riots of 1926, Dhaka riots of 1941, and the Great Calcutta killings of 1946. The violence was exactly of similar pattern, and ultimately the result was that India got divided into two nations, India and Pakistan. So what we are looking at, the Muslim communal problem basically came out of this toolkit, and it became so big that it ultimately, divided India. So it's a threat to national security and national integrity. It's not a small thing what is happening there. Another thing is that, it is this whole toolkit, this pattern is intricately linked to the spread of madrasas in the West Bengal. So I was looking at the assembly records, and Mamata Banerjee has said in Murshidabad, there is a significant number of madrasas, and they're not recognized or they are not basically registered with the government. They're called basically Khareji madrasas. So Mamata Banerjee herself has told the West Bengal Assembly in December 2024 that there are more than 5 lakh children who study in these Khareji madrasas. I believe the number is actually basically much more. And almost more than 2/3 of them basically follow the Devbandi, Islam. So it's a problem. It's not, only a problem about you're simplifying the problem when you're talking only about BSF. I'm not talking about you, but people who are only talking about BSF. We are missing the big picture. The big picture is West Bengal, as Mr. R.P. Singh said, already has 32% or almost about 30% population which is Muslim. A similar, and let me tell you, the whole Muslim League movement which divided India, it started from basically Bengal. Muslim League was founded in Dhaka, and the origin of radical Islam in 20th century in India has been from Bengal, and it is happening again. So I think it's a much wider issue, and I think it's wrong to blame. As far as the BSF is concerned, the problem is that, as Mr. Singh was also saying, that the central government in this federal structure has certain limitations when it comes to use of the central agencies. And of course, what Professor Mandal was saying, that is also a point. But added to this problem is that, organizations like Ansarullah Bangla, Hizbut Tahrir, Ansarullah Bangla is an extension
See,
of
I'll tell you what. That's not the state government's issue, sir. The issue of tackling and internal security is a central government issue. If these people are active here, then it's the job of the central government to ensure that they are not active and they are made rendered inactive. Sir, I have to pause here for a bit because we've got Ranjit Kumar Pal, one of the victims of the Murshidabad violence, joining us. So it's again an exclusive. It's taken great pains to talk to us. Ranjit, नमस्ते, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए. सबसे पहले आप मुझे बताइए कि आपके साथ क्या हुआ.
देखिए, मेरा साथ बहुत गलत हुआ है
जी,
क्योंकि मेरा घर जला दिया पूरा. मेरा जो कुछ भी था लूट कर सब भाग गया. सब कुछ के लूट भी लिया. मेरा घर में कुछ भी नहीं है. जो क्या पहनूं मैं, क्या खाऊं, क्या करूं, कोई काम भी नहीं है. जो काम कर रहा था, जो किया था, वो भी सब चला गया. उसके बाद आग लगा दिया पूरा पेट्रोल से. जो एक नया खाट लिया था वो भी जला दिया और हमारे पास कुछ भी नहीं है.
आपका घर जला दिया, सब कुछ जला दिया. अभी आप कहाँ पे हैं?
अभी हम चाचा के घर में हैं. ये वाला चाचा का घर है,
हाँ.
उसी में रह रूम में.
सिचुएशन इतना खराब हो जाएगा रंजीत, आपको लगा था?
नहीं लगा था ये इतना बुरा होगा.
अभी आप जाफराबाद में हो, आप कह रहे हैं, लेकिन आपके कई जानकार को मार भी दिया, ये भी कह रहे हैं आप. आपको डर लग रहा है अभी भी वापस जाने में?
हाँ, बहुत डर लगता है. उसका हमारा गांव वालों को खून कर दिया, खून करके चला गया. उसका कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है तो डर तो लगेगा ही. हमारे पास तो और कुछ भी नहीं है ना. जो क्या करो, हम 50 आदमी है, वो 100 आदमी है. किससे साथ लड़ूं? इधर से आ रहे हैं मुस्लिम भाई, उधर से आ रहे हैं मुस्लिम भाई, सब कुछ एक है. हमारा घर पूरा जला कर लूट के ले गया. उसके काट के फेंक दिया वो अलग अलग जगह से. ऐसा ही हो रहे हैं. हमारा सब कोई नहीं है.
क्या आप हिंदू हो इसीलिए आपको टारगेट किया गया? आपने कहा इधर से मुस्लिम भाई, उधर से मुस्लिम भाई, इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ.
हाँ, हम हिंदू है इसीलिए टारगेट किया है. जो वाकफ बिल है, वाकफ बिल के लिए हमारे ऊपर अत्याचार हुआ है. बहुत गलत किया है हम लोगों के साथ. जो पूरा गांव को खाली कर दिया लूट कर. जो कुछ घर में लड़की का शादी था, जो लड़की का शादी के साथ जो पौन ही रहता है, सोना, कैश, सब कुछ लूट भाग गया.
सोना लूट लिया, कैश लूट लिया, नया घर जला दिया, आपको भागना पड़ा, आपके दोस्तों को भी मारा है. ममता जी कह रही है ये सब बाहर से आए लोग हैं, बांग्लादेशी हैं. सही है, बांग्लादेशी थे वो?
नहीं, बांग्लादेशी नहीं, स्थानीय के लोग ही है. ये आसपास के लोग ही है, लोकल सब है. सब मुठ में पुट्टी बन के आ गया और लूट के चला गया, काट के चला गया.
तो आप कह रहे हो कि ना वो बांग्लादेशी है ना बिहारी है, लोकल है?
नहीं, वो स्थानीय है, सब लोकल ही है. कोई बांग्लादेशी नहीं है, कोई बिहारी नहीं है.
एक बात बताइए रंजीत, सीएम कह रही है कि सब कंट्रोल में है, आप कह रहे हैं कि पुलिस भी कह रहा है कि आप जान बचाकर भागो. हुआ क्या था? पुलिस ने क्या बोला आपको?
नहीं, वो गलत बोल रहा है. सूरज जरा सा झूठ बोल रहा है. हमारा इतना कुछ भी हो गया, हमारे पास कुछ भी नहीं है. खून करके चला गया. वो बोल रहा है कुछ भी नहीं हुआ है. कैसे चलेगा? हम 2-3-4 घंटे तक लड़ा है उसके साथ लड़ते थक गया है. पुलिस को फ़ोन किया था 100 बार फ़ोन किया था हम लोग. फ़ोन भी नहीं उठाया. जो वो आधा बार फ़ोन उठा भी लिया, वो बोल रहा है जान बचा के भागो. हमारे पास जब 4 घंटा या 2 बजे तक आया था एक BSF के कार. BSF आने से पहले हम थोड़ा सा स्थिति में आया है.
1 o'clock the report says the BSF was deployed. And it says that 4 to 5 hours it took to control the situation. Exactly what Ranjit is. Ranjit, आखिरी प्रश्न, आप कुछ PM को कहना चाहेंगे? PM मोदी जी से कुछ कहना चाहेंगे आप?
जो हम देश को प्रधानमंत्री को अनुरोध करता हूँ मैं, जो हमारा इधर एक परमानेंट कैंप चाहिए. BSF का कैंप चाहिए हमारे इधर. BSF नहीं रहेगा तो हम लोग नहीं बच पाएंगे. हमारा कैंप चाहिए. तो हम कैंप के बिना नहीं जी सकते. हम लोग हम मर जाएंगे, मर के चला जाएगा वो लोग. उसके पास कुछ भी नहीं होगा.
रंजीत, हमसे बात करने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. To our viewers, Ranjit Pal, a victim, is saying he want a BSF camp. They are not saying they want a proper police chowki. They are not saying they want state police deployed. They are saying BSF का camp वहाँ पर नहीं होगा, हमको मार के चला जाएगा. That's what Ranjit Pal has just now said. We're going to take a very, very short break. When we come back, we shift the spotlight towards the other battle that's happening around the Waqf bill in the Honorable Supreme Court. Vishnu Shankar Jain, live here on The Right Stand. Stay with us.
Им возможность, и вы имеете возможность общаться между собой. Ну, к сожалению, нет вашего отца с вами. Ну, сейчас ни в коем случае не хочу давать никаких политических оценок тем событиям, которые происходят. Но все, что с вами произошло, это большая беда. А то, что удалось вам оказаться на свободе, это результат того, что в России стабильные многолетние отношения с палестинским народом, с его представителями, самыми разными организациями. И думаю, нужно выразить слова благодарности руководству политическому руководству Хамас за то, что они пошли нам навстречу и совершили вот этот акт, гуманитарный акт, вас освободили. Я вас как раз с этим и хочу поздравить. Надежда на то, что все люди, которые находятся в том положении, в котором были.
Прежде всего поблагодарить вас лично и все российское правительство.
Разумеется, мы будем делать все для того, чтобы подобные акты совершались как можно чаще, и чтобы все люди, которые еще находятся в таких условиях, в которых вы провели столько много времени, чтобы они тоже были освобождены.
Внук был в плену. У меня очень тяжелый период Российской Федерации в Израиле. Посол России Анатолий Дмитриевич Викторов во время боевых действий и попала в плен к нацистам. И смогла бежать.
Благодарен очень за ваши действия, личные действия, чтобы мы вышли на свободу. И я тоже хочу сказать, что для меня это очень-очень важно в этом моменте, еще все остальные наложники тоже вышли на свободу, потому что я знаю, как они чувствуют, я знаю, чего они, как это там, как это тяжело, как они кричали. И для меня они как братья. Для меня как будто, когда они там, это как будто пол моего сердца еще там в Газе, и как будто мне очень будет трудно вернуться к моей жизни, нормальной жизни, каждое время, что они там.
Даже во время трудностей ваша поддержка очень важна. Действительно, будем работать обязательно.
Я вас очень прошу, чтобы вы продолжали делать все, что вы делали для меня и все этого. И я знаю, что вы делали очень много, чтобы они тоже могли быть на свободе и быть счастливы, как я сейчас счастлив, когда сижу рядом с моей.
Advocate Vishnu Shankar Jain takes the right stand, and let's try and get his perspective on the matters which are with the Honorable Supreme Court on the Waqf Amendment Bill and the petitions, nearly 70 odd petitions that are being heard. Vishnu Shankar Jain, let's address the biggest talking point through the last 2 days, that is Waqf by user. What are the petitioners saying on Waqf by user? The current bill says prospectively, going forward, there will be no Waqf by user. They're doing away with it.
You are absolutely right. The present Amendment Act 2025, Section 36 specifically mandates that henceforth all the Waqf properties will be registered by Waqf by deed, and there will be no Waqf by user. And the definition of Waqf by user has also been omitted. But there is a specific clause which has been introduced in the present Amendment Act, which is Section 3 subclause E, which says that if there is any Waqf by user registered properties, and if there is a dispute on that property, they will not get the protection of Waqf Act. Now let me tell you, this I am saying in the context, this you have to also understand in the context of Ram Mandir case, in the context of Gyan Vyapi case, in the context of Bangalore Eidgah Maidan case, when there were no documents to show that how Waqf has been created as per Islamic law. In Ram Mandir, in Gyan Vyapi, in Bangalore Eidgah Maidan, a counter argument of Waqf by user was introduced. Let me tell you at the outset, Anand, Waqf by user as a concept is draconian. Waqf by user as a concept is in violation of Article 14, 21, 25 as well as Article 300A of the Constitution of India. Let me tell you that there is no provision in any law, anyone can show me and I challenge it, Waqf by user for Waqf by user temple by user, church by user, Gurudwara by user. There is no such concept for any other section of the society which has a statutory protection. So Waqf by user was an erroneous concept which was introduced in 1954, which was again reintroduced in 2013, and therefore it was rightly struck down. Now the point is this, Anand, that I must ask the first question, that Article 32 is a fundamental right to approach the Supreme Court. Let me give you a very nice example. Shiva temple was being demolished in Delhi, which was on Yamuna riverbed, and the Honorable Delhi High Court said that Lord Shiva does not need our protection, and the matter travelled to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court asked the question that how you are saying this is a Prachin temple, where are the documents? And while hearing in the Waqf matter, the Supreme Court is saying that how Waqf, it's a debate, it's an observation in the court, that how Waqf will show documents so far as 300 year old mosque are concerned. The question must be asked that in this very court, the existence of Lord Ram was tested in this very court, that how Ram Mandir predates Babar was also asked. So the why question should not be asked that how Waqf by users have come into existence. The question should not be asked, Anand, that how directly the matter has been entertained in the Supreme Court. Is there not dichotomy? Because when we have challenged the Waqf Act 1995 in 2018 and 2020, the Supreme Court asked us to go to the High Court, and let me tell you very categorically, as a matter of record, I am referring to the affidavit of Law Ministry. The Law Ministry stated on affidavit that around 120 petitions are pending in different High Courts in the country, and when the matter was heard in the Supreme Court day before yesterday, the data was around 140 petitions are pending in different High Courts, where the challenge is to the Waqf Act 1995. All the draconian provisions which the Parliament had now struck down in the Waqf Amendment Act remained in the statute books. There was no stay, there was no interim order, there was no hearing in any of the High Courts from past 7 years, and suddenly when there is an Amendment Act which has been brought in, the matter travels to the Supreme Court and Supreme Court entertains the matter. So this is our first grievance, and this is our first objection, that the matter should have gone to the High Court and the High Court should have heard the matter.
Right. The court was asking this question whether or not they should send the matter to the High Court, and there was a different plea on that matter. The other thing is, this Waqf by user, has it been challenged? You just said since the time Nehruvian times it exists, 1954 onwards it exists. In 2013 it was brought back or underlined. It was not challenged until perhaps you...
I have challenged it.
When did you challenge it?
Let me tell you very categorically. Waqf by user as a concept which is in definition section 3R of the Waqf Act 1995. I challenged it in 2018, I challenged it in 2020 when the Supreme Court asked us to go to the High Court, approach the High Court. I challenged it in Punjab and Haryana High Court, I challenged it in Allahabad High Court, and both the Honorable High Courts had issued notice to the central government, but there was no stay on this draconian concept of Waqf by user. And let me tell you, the Honorable Home Minister on the floor of the House have given a statement that from 2013 till 2025, around 21 lakh acres of land have been acquired, have increased, and most of this land, Anand, let me tell you, is not by Waqf deed, it is by Waqf by user.
Right.
Waqf by user means what? When you don't have any document, you don't have any proof that how you have captured a particular piece of land, you will come with the concept of Waqf by user. This we have seen in Ram Mandir case, this we have seen in Gyan Vyapi case, this we have seen in Bangalore Eidgah Maidan case. Therefore, as per Islamic law, Waqf can be only by one medium, and as per constitutional practice also, Waqf can be only by one medium, which is by Waqf deed, and the same thing has been introduced so far as section 36 of the present Amendment Act 2025 is concerned. But the point is that in retrospective, if something erroneously has happened by an act of Parliament, Is do we not have a right to get it back? Do we not have a right, so far as both the communities are having a dispute for a particular piece of land, that it should be adjudicated by a civil court? Let me also tell you, there is a lot of confusion, Anand, when you say that verb by user. What the parliament has introduced, please appreciate. The parliament has said that verb by user, if there is a dispute on registered verb by user properties, the same will not get protection of verb by user, which means that the matter will be adjudicated before the civil court. This is the basic thing.
Correct.
But the narrative which has been set is that verb by user properties will be taken away.
But what happens to those properties which are not registered? Because like you cited some examples, nearly 50% of the properties registered under Waqf by user are not registered. Now this aspect was also brought in court today. Ki what if they are not registered?
See,
So
you must appreciate section 87 of the Waqf Act 1995. Section 87 of the Waqf Act 1995 had said that Waqf by user properties will get the protection even if they are not registered. And this was deleted in 2013.
it was deleted in
Omitted in 2013, which means that if there is unregistered verb by user properties, they will not get protection of Waqf Act.
So it's already there in the 2013.
It was there in 1995 Act as section 87 and it was deleted in 2013. So the mandate of the law is, as per Waqf Act 1923, as per Waqf Act 1954, as per Waqf Act 1995 with 2013 amendment, that all the Waqf mandatorily had to be
Registered. The other aspect is section 2526, right to practice religion, propagate religion and manage their own religious affairs. So is Waqf and properties under Waqf, are they a civil matter or do they come under the ambit of 2520? Have courts ruled in this?
See, the Honorable Supreme Court has very specifically ruled that Waqf as a concept is not a religious concept. You must appreciate it. It's not a religious concept, it's a charitable concept. And as per list 3, entry 28, the parliament has framed law on Waqf because it believes that it comes within the framework of charity and charitable organization. That's the word which is used in list 3, entry 28. So Waqf as a religious body has, the parliament has not enacted law so far as Waqf as a religious body is concerned. Waqf as a charitable organization which is concerned, the parliament has enacted law, and the Supreme Court has also ruled that Waqf Council or Waqf Board is not a religious body, it's an administrative body. Point number 1. Point number 2, there is lot of objection that there are 2 non-Muslim members in Waqf Council and Waqf Board. I must answer this question straight away. First, you must ask this question to anyone in this country, that why Waqf Act 1995 applies to non-Muslims? Because this matter was debated in the Supreme Court, and the Honorable Supreme Court asked a question that show us any law where any Hindu Endowment Act gives a provision that a Muslim person has to be a member there. Correct, absolutely right. That question is absolutely correct. In all the Hindu Endowment Act, there is no provision that in Hindu Endowment Act there will be a Muslim member. Absolutely correct. But the reasoning is that Hindu Endowment Act does not apply to Muslims. While the fact of the matter is that as per the judgment of the Supreme Court in Rashid Wali Beg, 2022 Supreme Court, paragraph 47, the Waqf Act 1995 by virtue of section 6, by virtue of the terminology person aggrieved, applies to non-Muslims, applies to me. So if there are, first of all, I am against this proposition. Let me tell you very straight away that there should not have been any non-Muslim member in Waqf Council and Waqf Board, and ideally as per section 3E, the protection is given to scheduled tribe communities, that Waqf Act will not apply to scheduled tribe. The same protection should have been given that Waqf Act will not apply to non-Muslims. But if it was not given, that is why 2 non-Muslim members were there in Waqf Council and Waqf Board.
But now the government is now trying to backtrack on that and saying that we are not going to have non-Muslims in the Waqf Board. That's one. Second, your petitions are quite the contrary. What are your petitions and why are you there in this entire matter?
First of all, let me explain you, the government has not backtracked. The Learned Solicitor General of India has assured the Honorable Court that till the matter is finally heard by the Honorable Supreme Court, which is on 5th of May at 2 p.m.
Right.
There will be no action, there will be no implementation so far as the denotification of verb by user of verb deed properties are concerned,
Right.
which are under section 4, 5 or 6 or section 36 or 40 of the Waqf Act 1995. That is one aspect of the matter. The second aspect of the matter is that there are still various draconian provisions which we have challenged, which are under the Waqf Act 1995 and 2013 amendment. For example, I just told you section 6,
Right.
person aggrieved, that still remains in the statute books, where there is a mandate for me to challenge any survey of Waqf board before the Waqf tribunal. So I have challenged that, saying that I should not be governed by the provisions of Sharia law or Waqf Act 1995. Therefore, my challenge, and let me tell you, the Honorable Supreme Court has issued notice so far as challenge to Waqf Act 1995 and 2013 is concerned in my petition.
Right.
The other challenge is that Waqf tribunal is completely unconstitutional. It is in violation of Article 323A of the Constitution of India. All these matters must go before the civil court. That is other ground of challenge on which there has been notice which has been issued. Apart from that, section 36, there, let me tell you, Anand, you will be shocked. In the present Amendment Act 2025, there is no provision of giving notice to the aggrieved party whose property is going to be registered under the Waqf Amendment Act 2025.
Right.
So that also I have challenged. Apart from that, under the original Act of 1995, section 8 is there, which says that all the Waqf survey, the expenses will be borne by taxpayers' money by the state government. That also I have challenged. Section 28 and 29, which gives Waqf the right to inspect any government records, that I have challenged, which gives the right to Waqf under section 28 that all the district administration will be bound by the orders of Waqf board, that I have challenged. Waqf tribunal I have challenged. Section 89, which gives a provision that if you have to file a case against Waqf, you have to give them 2 months prior notice, that I have challenged. And apart from that, the concept of Waqf by user and the other draconian concepts also I have challenged. One last thing I just want to tell you, one very important, and please appreciate this, under this present amendment, one very important thing is missing, which is Shamlat Da. Under section 3R, Shamlat Da and Jumla Malkhan, if anyone understands revenue law, it means that the village land, Gaon Samaj land, which is a village panchayat, a common land, will also be declared as Waqf property. That has not been amended in the present Amendment Act 2025. So Shamlat Da, Jumla Malkhan, which is village land, cannot be declared as Waqf property. That also I have challenged.
That also you have challenged. What are you expecting on the 5th of May? Final question.
See, my expectation is that
Because
the
so
matter...
far the feedback, it looks like that the government has not been able to put its position. It's not been able to argue on behalf of the legislator or the executive.
No, this is not right. See, first of all, let us understand that the Honorable Supreme Court, the matter was heard yesterday, the matter was heard today, and so far as Muslim side is also concerned, they were also not able to make their elaborate arguments. It's a short, brief hearing. So far as cursory glance over the provisions are concerned, the Honorable Supreme Court is going to have a detailed hearing over the matter on 5th of May, and I feel and I believe that we will be able to clarify all the provisions of the Waqf Amendment Act 2025 along with the history of the Waqf Act before the Honorable Supreme Court. And the government, and this is not right and correct to say, let me tell you very frankly, that government was not able to justify its stand before the Supreme Court. The government had justified its stand before the Honorable Supreme Court. In yesterday's hearing also, my learned senior Mr. Solicitor General Shri Tushar Mehta had explained to the Supreme Court all the draconian provisions which have been deleted. The learned Solicitor General has also explained that why this 2 Muslim members have been introduced, why Waqf by user has been deleted. All these things were explained, and today also in the sake of the entire constitutional practice of this country, the learned Solicitor General has said that we will not implement the provisions so far as appointment of Waqf Council and Waqf Board is concerned. We will not implement the provisions, we are not going to change or alter any character till the time Supreme Court is seized of the matter, and when the Supreme Court finally decides the matter, ultimately the position will be settled. So
you don't believe there has been any judicial overreach so far? You agree, disagree with what the Honorable Vice President has said today?
No, definitely I believe that there are, I am the firm view that so far as Supreme Court Article 32 power is concerned, there are various instances when we approach the Honorable Supreme Court. The Honorable Supreme Court, with lot of sense of respect, I want to say, the Honorable Supreme Court asks us to approach the High Court. Let me give you one example, that in that so far as Mayur Vihar temple was concerned, when we approached the Honorable Supreme Court that Mayur Vihar temple should not be demolished, We were asked that why you have approached the Honorable Supreme Court directly. Let me tell you a very glaring example, Anand. 4 states, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Pondicherry had challenged the Hindu Endowment Act of their respective states, and the 32 petition was pending in the Supreme Court from 2012. After 13 years, the Supreme Court took the view that why you have challenged these state acts before the Honorable Supreme Court, please challenge it before the respective High Court, and after 13 years, the matter was remanded back to the High Court. So I ask a question that why not Waqf Amendment Act 2025 could have been challenged before the Honorable High Court. Why directly entertain the petition in the Supreme Court? And whatever I am saying today on air before you, it's not that it is does not have any substance. These same things were deliberated and pondered upon so far as hearing in the Supreme Court in this matter is also concerned.
Vishnu Shankar Jain, thank you very, very much. We'll connect with you again on the 5th of May post the hearings that are scheduled on that day. Thank you for speaking with us. Thank you. We're just going to quickly go across to Jagdambika Pal, who's joining us. He's a member of the JPC and he was the chairperson of the JPC. Jagdambika Palji, namaste. The Waqf bill is in court. You've been following the proceedings over the last 2 days. Your thoughts first up.
It was not questioned by the Chief Justice. I think so the petitioners and advocates, they have raised this issue. Okay, now either work by users, either the role of the district magistrate, if there will be dispute between government property and work property, so then if district magistrate will be the final authority, so I think so how a person can be judge in his own case, so then district magistrate will give only decision in favor of the government. And third one is only now in work board how any non-Muslim can be just inducted or can be included. Now it is a religious phenomena and it will be just infringement on the right to freedom of religion. So these 3 questions were raised by the petitioners, and now if Chief Justice of India Honorable, so certainly the law-making body is a parliament. So I think so there is no question on competence of legislation because piece of legislation was discussed in detail in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha for more than 12 hours. Right. And before coming to the parliament, now Minister Parliamentary Affairs and Minority Minister, he himself has made a request to the Honorable Speaker, we have majority, we can push this bill directly from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, but we want that now thread and bare discussions should take place and number of stakeholders. Right. I think so it should be referred to the Joint Parliamentary Committee, and Honorable Speaker is kind enough, he accepted also, and he has just made it, I think
but if that is the case,
Parliamentary Committee, and he has referred. And
no, but if that is the case, Jagdambika Palji, why does it look like that the centre has asked for more time? It was not able to answer the questions strongly. It came across as weak in its arguments. Do you agree with this perception, or do you have a different expectation on the 5th of May?
And I must appreciate your sincerity, but I think so you have seen right from yesterday, I think so petitioners, lawyers, they were persuading that courts should pass some interim order, but I am very thankful to the Chief Justice of India and this Supreme Court. Now Supreme Court has heard to all the petitioners, lawyers, but now CJI has given enough time for 1 week to the government councils. Now you have to submit also your reply, and I am quite sure when Attorney General will appear after a week, so then certainly he will put all the cases, all the references which was earlier taken decision by the Supreme Court, by the High Court, I think, and whatever the concerns was raised by the Honorable Chief Justice of India, certainly it would be addressed, because we have already addressed. I think so if we have already addressed, and I think so there is no issue, so certainly I am quite hopeful now Attorney General or any other lawyers, if they will appear, so they are well aware about. So they will definitely, I think so, explain everything.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Jagdambika Palji, for speaking with us. We'll try and connect with you again as the hearing proceeds in the Honorable Supreme Court. Thank you. On that note, it's a wrap of this edition of The Right Stand. Stay with us. Brass tacks after the break.
Brought to you by
им возможность, и вы имеете возможность общаться между собой. Ну, к сожалению, нет вашего отца с вами. Ну, сейчас ни в коем случае не хочу давать никаких политических оценок тем событиям, которые происходят. Но все, что с вами произошло, это большая беда. А то, что удалось вам оказаться на свободе, это результат того, что в России стабильные многолетние отношения с палестинским народом, с его представителями, самыми разными организациями. И думаю, нужно выразить слова благодарности руководству политическому крылу ХАМАС за то, что они пошли нам навстречу и совершили вот этот акт, гуманитарный акт, вас освободили. Я вас как раз с этим и хочу поздравить. Надежда на то, что все люди, которые находятся в том положении, в котором
Прежде всего поблагодарить вас лично и все российское правительство.
Разумеется, мы будем делать все для того, чтобы подобные акты совершались как можно чаще, и чтобы все люди, которые еще находятся в таких условиях, в которых вы провели столько много времени, чтобы они тоже были освобождены.
Внук был в плену. У меня начался очень тяжелый период. Российской Федерации в Израиле, посол России Анатолий Дмитриевич Виктора во время боевых действий и попала в плен к нацистам и смогла бежать.
Благодарен очень за ваши действия, личные действия, что вы вышли на свободу. И я тоже хочу сказать, что для меня это очень-очень важно в этом моменте, еще все остальные наружники тоже вышли на свободу, потому что я знаю, как они чувствуют, я знаю, чего они, как это там, как это тяжело, как они кричали. И для меня они как братья. И для меня как будто, когда они там, это как будто пол моего сердца еще там в Газе. Я как будто мне очень будет трудно вернуться к моей жизни, нормальной жизни, каждое время, что они там. Даже во время трудностей ваша поддержка очень важна.
Действительно, будем работать обязательно.
Я вас очень прошу, чтобы вы продолжали делать все, что вы делали для меня и все этого. И я знал, что вы делали очень много, чтобы они тоже могли быть на свободе и быть счастливы, как я сейчас счастлив, когда сижу рядом с моей семьей, с моими людьми, что я очень люблю. Это для меня очень-очень важно. Все возможно. Я говорил маме, что не только молитва.
Им возможность, и вы имеете возможность общаться между собой. Но, к сожалению, нет вашего отца с вами. Ну, сейчас ни в коем случае не хочу давать никаких политических оценок тем событиям, которые происходят. Но все, что с вами произошло, это большая беда. А то, что удалось вам оказаться на свободе, это результат того, что в России стабильные многолетние отношения с палестинским народом, с его представителями, самыми разными организациями. И думаю, нужно выразить слова благодарности руководству политическому крылу ХАМАС за то, что они пошли нам навстречу и совершили вот этот акт, гуманитарный акт, вас освободили. Я вас как раз с этим и хочу поздравить. Надежда на то, что все люди, которые находятся в том положении, в котором
Прежде всего поблагодарить вас лично и все российское правительство.
Разумеется, мы будем делать все для того, чтобы подобные акты совершались как можно чаще, и чтобы все люди, которые еще находятся в таких условиях, в которых вы провели столько много времени, чтобы они тоже были освобождены.
Внук был в плену. У меня начались
Good evening, this is Brastax. I'm Zaka Jacob. It was a significant hearing at the Supreme Court on the Waqf Act that was recently passed in Parliament in both houses. The court said no changes can be made to Waqf properties, including no change to Waqf by user clause, which had existed in the previous law, which was the most contentious and most problematic part of that law. The court has also instructed the government that it will not make any new appointments. That is, the government will not appoint any non-Muslims to either Waqf boards or to Waqf councils, as was the provision in this newly passed law. None of these changes will be applicable until the next hearing in the Supreme Court, which is on the 5th of May. The centre has 1 week's time to file its reply, after which the petitioners in this case will have 5 days' time to peruse the centre's reply, and then the court will meet again on the 5th of May. But the big question, after 2 days of what is a very, very significant hearing on a law that was passed